On Larry King Now, Candis Cayne.
I really wanted to teach women of every race, age, gender, how to be beautiful. And not only on the outside, but on the inside, because that's where it all starts. I always felt female, but I've experienced the male life and understand how people reacted to me as someone who was male. And that's the difference that I know. Things change when you transition. Just the way people talk to you, the way life happens.
Transparent creator Jill Soloway said last year that only trans people should play trans characters. Do you agree?
Yes.
Are you going to be on Transparent soon?
I am, actually.
Plus, person you trade places with for a day.
Donald Trump. And then I'd resign.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our guest today is actress, performance artist, and one of the original transgender icons, Candis Cayne, known for Nip Tuck, Dirty Sexy Money, RuPaul's Drag Race, and Caitlyn Jenner's docuseries, I Am Kate. Candis has been a longtime activist for the LGBT community, and her new book is Hi Gorgeous, Transforming Inner Power into Radiant Beauty. It'll be released June 20th. And it's available for pre-order now. Why'd you write it?
A girl came up to me at DragCon a year ago and said to me, "You are so gorgeous." And I said, "You know, you are too." And she said, "No, I'm not." And it was this beautiful little girl. And I was like, why is this girl not believing she's gorgeous? So I really wanted to teach women of every race, age, gender, how to be beautiful. And not only on the outside, but on the inside, because that's where it all starts.
Why do beautiful women, I've observed this over many years, look in the mirror and not see their beauty?
I think that they have a really high bar of other people telling them this constantly, and so they start
But they tell them they're pretty.
They have to live up to that, and that's part of the problem with you know, the voices in your head, is that they tell you things to bring you down, and you have to kind of learn how to fight through those little voices.
Do you think in your own case, having been a man, that you have some more insight into this?
Of course. I mean, I know, I mean, I always felt female, but there wasn't a word for it, you know?
Yeah.
So but I've experienced the male life and understand how people reacted to me as someone who was male. And that's the difference that I know, you know what I mean? Things change when you transition. Just the way people talk to you, the way life happens, you know?
Caitlyn Jenner wrote the foreword to your book.
Yeah.
And she writes, "I've learned where some of Candis's confidence comes from. It comes from a beautiful soul and many years of purging those voices of self-doubt that say, you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not feminine enough." Great compliment.
Amazing. So sweet.
Did you think for a time you were gay?
Yeah. I actually came out twice. Because there wasn't a word for trans, and so I was attracted to men, and I thought, okay, I felt female, but I didn't know what that meant. We didn't have Google back then, you know what I mean?
So why didn't you just leave it at gay?
Because your gender identity and your sexual identity are two totally different things. So I realized that it wasn't, how I felt wasn't my sexual identity, it was more about my gender identity and how I felt in my mind. But because I was raised by parents that were always accepting, treated me with respect, told me I could do anything I wanted to do, I was able to make a decision and not be weighed down by it, you know?
Was coming out very hard, or not because your parents were so liberal?
It was hard in the fact that you're discovering these new things about yourself, and to tell them vocally to your parent is really kind of hard.
How old were you?
Well, I came out at 17 to my parents at 19, and then as trans I came out at 24.
And they handled all of it well?
Yeah, I mean, this was in 1989, or, you know, so this was really in an era where it was okay to abuse the LGBT community. They were scared for me, but they knew that they had raised me in a way that I would make good decisions, and I'd be able to take care of myself.
Are there many, many transgenders who have never come out and who people think they're women or people think they're men?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of trans people are able to, not a lot, but some are able to transition and then just kind of blend into society. For me, I was an actress and a performer, and I didn't want to go that route. And I also wanted to fight for my community, because I mean, the T word wasn't even, when I started my transition, the T word wasn't even in the LGBT sign. There was no T in that sign. Transparent
creator Jill Soloway said last year that only trans people should play trans characters. Do you agree?
Yes. I mean, there's different levels of that. I mean,
if somebody's just... Are you going to be on Transparent soon?
I am, actually. I did like a day walk-on with Alexandria Billings. I played one of her friends at the pool in a bikini. Oh my God, what was I thinking?
Do we know how many there are?
No. I mean, there's certain, you know, there's certain kind of statistics, but they're very vague, because a lot of the trans community disappears because of, you know, homophobia and transphobia. So I don't think we really know.
The assumption is there are gay statistics, what, 8%? Was that a guess?
Well, we would like to know, but apparently this year we're being taken out of the census. So who's to know?
Our guest is the irrepressible Candis Cayne. We're discussing trans rights and President Trump, too, after the break. And the book is Hi, Gorgeous. Look at that cover. This is a book of tips for every woman alive, right? Young, old, transgender, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a book that talks to people about how to get inner confidence and then go to the outer beauty.
Did you always have this?
I always had that.
We'll pick that up right after this. Don't go away. The book is Hi, Gorgeous. It'll be available June 20th. You can order it now. The beautiful Candis Cayne. Look at these pictures. Pictures throughout the books, tips throughout the book, delicious decor, how to wear things, how to wear dresses, how to wear diamonds, how to put lipstick on. Men could read this too. You'll get turned on. Okay. You have been outspoken in your criticism of Donald Trump. I know him many years. The first thing he said when asked about LGBT when he was running was, I have hotels. If they're paying, they could use any bathroom they want. And then he changed. How'd you react to that? Because the real Donald that I knew said that.
Well, I mean, he's obviously probably playing to his base, you know, trying to keep that real hardcore right core together, you know, surrounded around him.
The Mike Pence group.
Yeah. The problem with that is that when you become president, you don't become president to 40% of the country.
So what do you make of him?
I think that he's a narcissist, and he has a overinflated ego. He doesn't listen to anybody. He doesn't read anything. And his only answer to most questions are 140 characters.
Do you think he has been especially rough for the LGBT community?
Yes, in the sense that he's surrounded himself and his cabinet with people who are outspoken people against the gay community. Mike Pence, his vice president, talking about conversion therapy. Curing the gay. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that even with all the facts and the science and everything nowadays, that you have people that want to shun science and fact for their religious freedom. It doesn't make any sense.
Caitlyn, who's a friend of yours, and she is conservative.
Yeah, and we've gotten into it, boy.
You've argued. She's not pro-Trump. But she is conservative.
She is conservative. And we've had some debates. I mean, you saw it on season 2 of I Am Kate. I think that when you get down to the nitty-gritty, if you're a true conservative, you can actually have conversations with liberals and you can argue your fact, and then at the end of the day, let that go and still become friends and have relationships. I mean, nowadays we live in such a poisoned society. It's such a heavy tension in the air. So I didn't want to ever, with Kate, I didn't want to carry that into our friendship. And I think that was the point that people missed about the show, is that they wanted to focus on that and then not just allow them to see all of us as who we really are,
So you always had this inner gumption. You're a stand-up person. You must have been that way when you were a kid.
Yeah, as much as I could.
Now, when you transformed, you had the surgery and everything, right? Look how you look. You could have blended in. You never had to be Candis Cayne. You could have been Candis Cayne without being Candis Cayne.
Right.
You could have just blended in, and who knew? Who would know that you're not a woman?
Well, I would. And I saw the stuff that was going on, and I wanted to be an actress, and I never wanted to be in a situation. Look, someone will always know your past. And instead of being, this is for me personally, instead of being afraid of talking about my past, I wanted to be open about it, so I would be in a if I'd never be in a situation where it would come out in an inopportune time. If I'm at an audition, I would never want to try to become an actress as not myself, you know what I mean?
What was it like the first time as Candis, you went out with a man?
Well, it was liberating. I mean, You
wore a dress, you were...
Yeah, I mean...
Of course, you were now a woman, but there has to be...
I was in my 20s, and I was
has to be the first
hot.
date, though. What was it like to date men as a woman?
It was freeing. It was liberating. I felt like myself for the first time, And I remember thinking, nothing ever really worked out when I was trying to date men as a man. There was never a connection. They didn't, But, I just felt like I was truly myself in those situations. And that happened in all over the gamut of my life, just like walking down the street every day. I remember the first time I threw away all my clothes and I went to the airport. I had planned a trip to Europe, and it was the first time I was living as Candis. And I walked up to the lady checking tickets, and, she was like, "Thank you, ma'am, go right in." And it was just like, little things like that. Most people would never remember, but it had such a huge impact on me.
How do you explain that your voice is so feminine?
Well, this is the voice that I've always had.
Lucky.
I know. And this is the hair I've always had, too.
Do you want to be married?
If the right person comes along, sure.
So far,
I'm
you haven't.
Single.
You haven't met him?
No. I've had some.
Come close.
Come close, but I realized that. My parents are married 55 years last week. And so I always had this ideal of what it was supposed to be, to have a successful life, And after my last long-term relationship ended, I was like, that might be just because they're who they are and they're perfect for each other. And I might not find that, but it's okay. I'm happy alone until I find somebody that I don't have to compromise myself more than 50%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More than half the relationship.
Coming up, Candis on her family and fan encounters, plus her advice for young trans people struggling to find acceptance. We'll be right back. We're back with Gorgeous. She's gorgeous. The book is High Gorgeous. It's Candis Cayne, Transforming Inner Power into Radiant Beauty. You said that when you were young, there wasn't a word for trans. What did you think you were? What did it feel like to be in the wrong body, right?
I just remember, going and playing one afternoon when I was like 6 or 7, and with my cousins who were twins, a boy and a girl, and me and my twin brother. And we were all playing together, and I remember thinking, why am I not like Tanya? This doesn't make sense. That was at 7 having that thought. You know what I mean?
You have a twin brother?
I have a twin brother.
And he is male?
Yeah. I have, married nieces and nephews.
You dedicated the book to your parents and your brother, who you wrote encouraged me to thrive as my authentic self for my entire life.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a young man watching this show, maybe 14, 15, feeling they're in the wrong body?
I would say live your true, authentic self. Be who you are supposed to be when the time is right. If you're in a hairy situation and it's not possible, it's okay to wait a couple of years till you get around people, your tribe, family members that are going to understand who you are, and make it a safe and positive transition, Do
you have to do the surgery?
No, you don't. I know, most of the community
you did, right?
lives as, I stopped talking about surgeries.
Okay, none of my business.
Yeah, because, a lot of people that...
But I would think, this is a male thought,
yeah.
If I wanted to have a full and complete life, I would do the surgery.
Right.
If I were.
But whose full and complete life are you wanting to have? Everybody has different definitions of a full and complete life.
Well, sexual intercourse would be part of a full and complete life.
Right, in your definition.
Yeah, well, I'm the only definition I know.
Right, exactly.
Okay. We'll play a little game of If You Only Knew.
Okay.
I just throw things at you. Do you have a secret talent?
I am really good at beach volleyball.
You're tall and you're good. Childhood celebrity crush?
Jake from 16 Candles. Do you remember that movie? I forgot his name.
Person you'd trade places with for a day?
Donald Trump. And then I'd resign.
Guilty pleasure. Good line. Guilty pleasure.
This is going to sound whatever, but my favorite thing to do is put on a record in my record player, open all the windows in my house, and go out and garden in my backyard.
Where do you live?
Glendale.
Wow, you could walk here.
Yeah.
Strangest job you've ever had?
I was asked, first time a club in New York City by Michael Alig, of all people, who killed the angel and put him in a bunk, to dress as a clown in a net in the middle of Limelight and dance in a net, or in a cage.
And you did it?
Yeah, I just moved to New York. I needed the money.
Something on your professional bucket list?
To be in a movie with Meryl Streep.
Something on your personal bucket list?
I've always wanted to go and move to Spain for a month and a half or 2 months and learn Spanish.
You could do that.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Characteristic you cherish most about yourself?
My honesty and openness.
Something you wish you were better at?
Beach volleyball.
Funniest fan encounter?
I was in the middle of Lisbon, and I walked into an old pottery factory with these little women doing old pottery, and we're talking in the middle of nowhere. And the 3 women got up and ran over to me and they're like, "Are you Candis?" I was like, in the middle of Lisbon. It was really weird. Yeah, it was crazy.
Must have felt good though.
It felt great.
Is there something you long believed to be true and realized wasn't?
Love at first sight.
No such thing.
I don't think so.
Candis is answering your social media questions in our final segment. The book is High Gorgeous, Transforming Inner Power into Radiant Beauty, available June 20th. We'll be right back. She also secretly wished she learned she could play piano. Me too.
Yeah.
I wish I'd learned. I'd love to just sit in a room alone and play songs.
I know, me too.
Hi, Gorgeous is the book. Candis Cayne is the guest. Some social media questions. Lieutenant Loker tweets, what's the best way to keep up my self-esteem no matter what?
Look in the mirror every day and say you're gorgeous, and talk to those voices in your head that are telling you you're too fat, you're too ugly, you're too this, you're too that, and listen to it and then let it go.
Excellent. Carl Monroe on Facebook wants to know if Candis Cayne is your real name.
Candice McDaniel is my real name.
Was Candis your male name too?
No, Candice was not my male name.
What was your male name?
Brendan.
Brendan
Brendan.
McDaniel?
McDaniel.
A very nice name.
I know. I love my name. That's why I don't feel weird about saying it, you know.
No, it's a great name.
Yeah, I loved
An actor should take that name.
I think so too. But you know, back when I started my transition, you weren't allowed to keep, I mean, it just was unfeasible to keep your original name if you were a boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I kind of wish I had.
Supermodel asks, how is the dating scene as a trans woman, and would you ever consider dating another woman?
Tinder is great. No, I'm teasing. You know, I'm not attracted to women in that way. So it's not really what I would do. You know what I mean? The dating scene is SCSE.
Gwen Fott, how can the CIS community help you fight Trump's hate-filled agenda?
Just be an ally. You know, go out and march. We don't have any. We don't have the House. We don't have the Senate. We don't have the presidency. The only way that we can stop horrifying things from happening is to get out and march, be vocal, rally.
Speaking of marches, the Gay Pride Parade in
Yes.
L.A. will not be a parade, will not be gay pride, will not be people on floats. It will be a protest march across the country.
Go.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, when Gay Pride started, it wasn't about people, you know, in heels on floats and celebrating. It was a fight. It was fighting for our rights to be acknowledged, to be seen, to be taken seriously. So, yeah, I'm going to go there and I'm going to run for president.
Why not?
Why not?
Who knows?
You know, why not?
You've never tried it before?
I know. I don't think any trans woman has. So let's give it a run.
And did you really know about Margaret Thatcher? Okay, anyway. The Daily Angle. How close are you to Caitlyn Jenner, really? And how have politics affected the friendship, really?
I mean, we talked about that.
Yeah, but they're saying really, like
really.
Yeah.
We're close. We talk all the time. She's been busy. I've been busy with her book tour, coming on your show. And so when we talk, we just talk, you know, about certain things. We've gotten into it politically before, you know, off camera. But I've always been able to say, that's how you feel. That's how I feel. We fight for a second, and then we let it go and play a round of golf. So it's, you know, I'm just going to say there's too much hate going on right now that we as a community, especially the LGBT community, shouldn't be fighting each other. We have so many wars to wage with people attacking us, you know what I mean?
You used to perform in drag. Do you miss it?
I still do it. I still put on a heel and a hairpiece and do full makeup, and I do my one-woman show. I love it. I'll never give up performing. Candis
What would
Cayne.
my drag name be?
Larry Queen.
Larry Queen.
Larry Queen.
You've said in the past that there can be segregation between the gay community and the trans community.
Yeah.
Still feel that way?
I do. I think it's getting better. I think shows like RuPaul's Drag Race, even though it is drag and has nothing to do with trans, there's an element of high glamour, and shows like Transparent and, you know, I Am Kate are helping bridge the communities together.
You're a delight, darling.
Wonderful to meet you.
My pleasure. Thanks to my guest, Candis Cayne. Hi, Gorgeous, Transforming Inner Power into Radiant Beauty, available June 20th. As always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. See you next time.